Daniel Sports Central bring over our next team projection of this offseason, and next we go over the Stanford Cardinal, a team that went 4-2 in the 2020 season. Overall, a good season for Stanford. This team definitely did not have high expectations going into last season, but they ended up having a good season overall. But how will this team be in 2021 is what we're going over here today. We're going to go over a few players that Stanford will be losing, who will be returning, and also looking at their schedule for the first time this offseason, starting out with your previous 6 games, which last season you played 6 games. You had a 4-2 record, and overall this team, once again, even though they took a couple of terrible losses, I mean, they lost to Oregon 14-35, pretty terrible loss there. But this team definitely got some good wins last season. I mean, they had a lot of close games for sure, but Stanford overall won their last 4 games. They start off the season 0-2, and it didn't look so good. But, I mean, once again, you won your last 4, putting up to a 4-2 record, which is not terrible at all for a team like Stanford. This team beat California 24-23, beat Washington 31-26, also beat Oregon State on the road there, 27-24, and that was before beating UCLA to finish out the season. 40-47 was the score there. First 3 games you were 1-2. Last 3 games you were undefeated at 3-0. So overall, once again for Stanford, not a terrible season at all for this team. Looking at your roster preview going into next season, you lose your starting quarterback Davis Mills. That will be a loss to watch out for there. Of course, he put up some good stats last season actually for Stanford. He definitely was not the problem for this team. He put up just over 1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, also had a 66% completion rate. So Davis Mills was actually a pretty good quarterback last season for Stanford. It put up some pretty good stats overall. Jack West is likely to take over the quarterback position. He really didn't play a whole lot for Stanford last season, but when he did, he played pretty well. So watch out for him going into next season. As for the running back position, of course, you return your top running back, Austin Jones. He was the primary running back for this team, pretty much the only one there that put up just over 700 yards and then 9 touchdowns. And then, of course, you got Simi Fehoko. He's coming back as well. He was your top, or he's not going to be coming back. He is your top wide receiver that is going to be not returning for next season. Put up just over 570 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's going to be a tough loss there for sure. But Bryson Tremaine is coming back. Michael Wilson is also coming back. Your second and third wide receivers are both coming back for next season. So that's going to be big for this team. But once again, you can't forget that you're losing your top wide receiver there. That's going to be a tough loss, especially at first. But otherwise, I mean, this team is looking pretty good returning production-wise. You lose 2 on the offensive line, which isn't terrible. You lose 1 linebacker and then 2 in the secondary. So you do have a moderate amount of losses on the defensive side. But once again for Stanford, this team is definitely one that I think has got a lot of potential. I mean, we saw that last season. This team played really well down the stretch, and they're going to have that momentum going into next season. You just got to get a good start going, and Stanford, I definitely think, could be a good team next year. But chances of improvement next season, once again, this team was 4-2 last year. So overall, not a terrible season. But will they improve is the big question. Once again, I think a big determiner in how Stanford is going to be next season is going to be the quarterback or Jack West, whichever quarterback is under center. If they play well, Stanford's going to be a good team. But if they don't, there's a chance that we may see Stanford have more of a down season. But I'd say chances of improvement for 2021 are pretty good for Stanford. Will there be a bowl season next season for this team? I definitely think there's a good possibility of that. Once again, this team has got some good potential, but it's just a matter of how consistent they can be down the stretch. But looking at your schedule, of course, to start off the season against Kansas State in a neutral location. I believe that game is in Dallas. Should be an interesting matchup there. Then you got USC on the road, Vanderbilt also on the road. Then you got UCLA, Oregon, Arizona State, Washington State to follow that. You got Washington, and then in your November, you got Utah, Oregon State, California, and then Notre Dame. So your non-conference games are pretty tough next year. You've got to play 3 teams that are in the better conferences. Of course, Notre Dame is an independent, but you kind of get my point there. I mean, this team does not play any group of 5 teams next year. Your non-conference games are Kansas State, Vanderbilt, and Notre Dame, for example. So that's going to be something to watch out for there. But looking at the first half of your schedule, Kansas State will be a close one. Definitely not going to be picking that one yet. I could easily see that one going either way. USC is kind of in the same situation there, but USC is looking like a good team next season. So that could come to be a tough matchup there. Vanderbilt, then you got them after that. That's going to be a win. I think Stanford's going to beat Vanderbilt there on September 18th. Vanderbilt just is a terrible team right now, and they're just a mess, if I'm being totally honest with you. UCLA is going to be a close one. Oregon's going to be close. Arizona State's also going to be close. So all of those first 6 games could come to be close matchups. I could see Stanford winning 3 of those for sure. I think 3 is definitely reasonable out of your first 6. But really, I mean, if you want to be in a good position for a bowl game, 4 to 5 wins would be definitely ideal heading into the second half of the season. Which, of course, in the second half, you got a couple of road trips there. You got Washington State on the road on October 16th. That's right after the trip to Tempe for Arizona State. And they got Oregon State as well in the middle part of November. Honestly, I mean, this kind of looks boring because, I mean, we got so many close games on your schedule projection, but it's just so true. I mean, Stanford's going to have a ton of close games next season. It's just a matter of how many they can win. Like, this team could easily go 5-7 as much as they could go 9-3. Like, this team has got talent. This team definitely has got some good talent, but it's just you're going to have a lot of close games next season. You just got to make sure that you're on the right side of those close games, and you'll be successful in for next season. But your ceiling's going to be 9-3, which is a pretty good ceiling, I'd say, for Stanford. If you can get up to 9 wins, that would be an outstanding season. 7-5 is going to be your projection. So that's kind of what I'm expecting out of this team, is a 7-5 record. Overall, once again, if you can get up to 7-5, I'd say that's a successful season that gets you up to a bowl game and more. 5-7 will be your floor. So that's basically the worst that I think it could be next season. Which, if you ask me, 5-7 as your floor is pretty good. I'm definitely guaranteeing you to get at least 5 wins next season. I definitely think you'll have a better chance than not of making it to a bowl game. It's just a matter of how far you can get past that 6-win barrier. That being said, though, that wraps up my projections on Stanford. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on these. Let me know your predictions as well in the comments. But I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys all later.